Hello everyone. The topic for today's lecture is HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Majority of the websites in the internet are built using HTML format. Unlike learning the Python programming language, learning a markup language like HTML is going to be very easy. In today's lecture, you'll learn how to make your own website. Let me give you two reasons as to why you should learn this. Firstly, let's say that you want to release a custom dataset created by you. Knowing how to build your own website will enable you to publish your custom dataset to the rest of the community. Secondly, you should learn how to parse HTML file format because there are a lot of datasets out there in the internet which have HTML format. Unfortunately, parsing HTML file format is not as easy as parsing JSON file format. JSON file format was created with programmatic parsing objective, whereas HTML file format was created with an appealing objective. In the next lecture, we will learn how to parse HTML file format. In today's lecture, we are going to learn the basic syntax of HTML file format. We'll be covering demo problems which will enable us to generate HTML files. Let's get started by reviewing the term hypertext. Recall that hypertext refers to any text which contains a hyperlink. Hyperlink is any clickable link which will take you to a specific website. I have index.html page here which contains two hypertext as about and contact. Let's say that I'm clicking on the hyperlink as part of the contact hypertext here. That will take me to a different page called contact.html which contains relevant details. There are going to be two steps for dealing with hypertext. Step 1 is about retrieving the content of the hypertext using HTTP protocol. Step 2 is going to be about displaying the content of the hypertext. Let's go through these steps in detail. Let's say that I have my favorite browser open within my laptop and I'm trying to access this specific URL. Recall that we mentioned domain name as part of the URL, which will enable us to identify the remote server computer which is hosting that particular domain. Step number 1 is about using HTTP protocol messages or packets to transfer the content of the remote resource, which is going to be resource.html file in this example. Recall that as part of the URL, we mentioned the domain name, which can be converted to the IP address of the remote server machine using the DNS or domain name server protocol. Once you convert the domain name to the IP address, you'll be able to send HTTP GET request from your laptop to the remote computer. In the internet, there are devices called as routers which sit in between our laptop and the remote server computer. You can trust the routers to get your HTTP request packet safely to the remote server computer, just like how you can trust the postal system to get your mailing post to your friend. Good thing about HTTP protocol is that both the request and the response message have plain text format, enabling us to read the contents easily. Once we have the IP address of the remote server machine, we are going to generate a HTTP request which has the method as get and the resource as resource.html here. Upon receiving the HTTP GET request message, the server is going to process it and send back a HTTP response packet back to our laptop. Recall that HTTP response contains status code, which will be 200 if everything is fine with the processing of HTTP requests. Along with the header details, you're going to get the actual content of the resource file, which is going to be HTML format because our resource file is resource.html here. The content type within the header is going to get displayed as text/HTML. Step number 2 is about parsing this particular HTML file format in order to render the page within the web browser. All web browsers are capable of parsing HTML files. What exactly do we mean by parsing? Web browser is going to read the HTML file format, convert the text hello to bold and world to italics. In today's lecture, we'll learn all about specifying what are called as tags within HTML file format. Let me compare and contrast a text file with HTML file. I have two different URLs as part of this slide deck, which I've already opened within my Chrome browser window. Observe that hello.txt and hello.html files have the exact same contents. Hello.txt does not have any kind of formatting, whereas hello.html has formatting like bold, italics, bold, and italics. Let me expand the browser window containing the HTML file, and I'm going to show you useful tools to use to explore HTML. You can right click on your browser window and click View Page Source. That's going to open the HTML file format. Observe that we have additional information than just the text that is being displayed as part of the rendered version. You can select part of the text within your HTML rendered version on the web browser, right click and click on Inspect. That will open what is called as developer tools within Chrome. You can use developer tools to poke around parts of the HTML file format. The third thing which I want to show you is how to download a local copy of the HTML file. You can right click on the web page and click Save As, and that's going to enable you to save a local copy. Navigate to the correct directory where you want to save it. I'm going to save it within Lecture 32 directory. Once you save the file, launch Finder or File Explorer window and double click on the HTML file. That will enable you to open a local copy. Observe the difference in the URL. The local copy URL just shows the local path, whereas the version which is hosted on my website is showing my domain name over here. I'm going to show you how you can edit the local downloaded copy of the HTML file. Please pause the lecture video here and launch Jupyter Notebook from the same directory where you downloaded hello.html. You should click on the checkbox beside the hello.html file and click on Edit over here. I'm just going to remove the italics tag from the second line here. Shortly, we're going to learn what is meant by tags. Whenever you change the source of the HTML file, you need to save a copy of it and refresh your browser where you're rendering the HTML file. Observe that line number 2 now changed from bold italics to just bold because that was the change that I made. Let me go to the course website, and I want to show you an example of complex web page. If I click on the view page source, you'll see a detailed HTML file. I would encourage you to poke around this HTML file to figure out how we release the links for each of the lecture videos. Here is another example. Let's go to google.com. If you were to right click on it and view page source, that's going to give you a dizzying HTML file format to look at. That's because google.com has a very complicated HTML file. Let's switch over to the slide deck and we are going to learn about what are called as tags. In HTML, tags are what will enable you to specify special formatting for a text. Tags often come in pairs. You're going to mention the opening tag and the closing tag within angle brackets. The text within the opening tag and the closing tag is going to be the exact same. The difference is going to be that closing tag is going to contain a forward slash. You'll mention any text which does not require formatting outside any of the tags. And within the opening and the closing tag, you're going to mention the text which requires special formatting. I'm going to use this format for the next few slides. I'll have the HTML format on the top within this rectangle. The laptop image here is going to show the rendered version of the HTML page. Right now I only have simple sentence which has no formatting, and that's going to be rendered as such. Let's learn about the bold tag. You're going to mention B within angle brackets and slash B within angle brackets for a bold tag. Let's say that we want to bold the word test. We are going to add the opening tag and closing tag around the word test, and the rendered version is going to contain test with bold format. You can add a tag surrounding multiple words. For example, I can bold test page here. Italics is done by using I tag. Observe that we are getting italicized output for test page words here. You can have multiple italics tag within the same HTML file. Let's say that you want to italicize just this and test page but not SA. You're going to include two pairs of italics tags, one around this and another around test page. You can have one tag within another. An example would be to have bold tag within the italics tag, and the word this is going to be both bold and italicized in the rendered version. Let's learn about mentioning vertical space. When you just add new lines within your HTML source file, that is not going to have an impact on the rendered version of the website because white space is ignored when parsing the HTML file. So how can we mention white space? There are going to be a couple of options. The first tag is going to be the paragraph tag, or P. You're going to have open paragraph tag and close paragraph tag. As the name of the tag suggests, it's going to just include the text within the open and close paragraph tags as an individual paragraph. In this example, we have two different paragraphs. The next option would be for you to use what is called as line break. Line break is going to be given by the BR tag. Are you able to spot what is different about the BR tag here? Please pause the lecture video here and write a comment in the comment section stating what you think is different about BR tag when compared to the other HTML tags that we have covered so far. BR tag just stands for line break. Just like how we have /n in Python for new line, we have the BR tag in HTML file format for a new line. You can have any number of BR tags. That's going to include appropriate number of spacing here. The main difference between other tags and BR tags is that there is no closing tag for the BR tag. These are known as void elements because you don't have any contents within the tag as such. Whenever you have a void element tag, you can just use the opening tag and that will enable you to get the line break. Or you could alternatively specify BR and then followed by a slash. Some of the websites will use this particular format. This is just to indicate that this particular tag acts both like the opening tag and the close tag. Let's learn about headers. Headers enable us to specify title, subtitle, and so on. You're going to mention header using h1, h2, etc. tags. h1 is going to have the largest format for the title, and the h2 tag is going to have the second small header version, which is going to be a subtitle. Last I checked, there are tags from h1 through h6 which you can use. Let's learn about including list within HTML file format. When it comes to list, you're going to have an outer tag and an inner tag. Let's first learn about unordered list. Unordered list just refers to a list with bullet points. The outer tag for unordered list is going to be UL, and the inner tags are going to be LI tags. Within each pair of LI open and close tag, you're going to mention the item which you want as part of that particular bullet point. You can have multiple items with multiple LI tags within the UL tag. The closing tag for the LI tag is optional and you can skip mentioning that. Often you'll find that websites only use the opening LI tag because it's a waste of time for you to type the closing tag. You can use OL tag as the outer tag if you want an ordered list. What is an ordered list? You're going to have the list items as 1, 2, 3, etc. I'll wrap up this video here. In the next video, we are going to go through demo problem 1. Between this video and the next video, please make sure to download the template notebook file for today's lecture by clicking on the code link. Also click on the data folder and download review1.csv. After you download review1.csv, create a data folder within the folder where you have downloaded your template notebook file. We are going to use the template notebook file and review1.csv for demo problems.